Hey everybody, thanks for taking the time to hop on and take a quick look at some of the new features and updates in this latest release of Pre-Built MLX and related brands. And we're talking about in the Help About menu, we've got 4.14.3.3645, or perhaps a slightly later version if we've released one after the making of this video. But just want to make you aware of just some of the new stuff that's going on in here, so you can start to leverage some of those new features and things. So jumping over here to the Plan tab, a couple of new things that are here relating to how pages are imported. The first is that in the Tools menu, there's a new user setting that's available. You can see it here. It's the option to check this box of import PDF images to a folder in the pages list. So if you, especially if you're doing like revision work and other things, or even if it's just a better general flow for you, if you want all of the pages for a particular PDF to just land inside of a folder, you can check this box as a user setting, click done, and then when we come here to add plan pages, go to our desktop and pull up here this particular PDF, and you see it's going to pull those things in, and as it does, it converts those pages and puts them into the pages list. But as it finishes that, you can see here that it's dropped all those inside of this folder here, and this folder was given a name for the name of the PDF, and then inside of that are all then the individual pages. Now, the second feature here that update that we've made relates to the ability to have a label on a PDF page. So like while it's still in its PDF form, in fact, I'll just pull over my PDF viewer here that I'm using. So here's my PDF viewer, here's the pages. And if I select like this page over here, you can see over here that the page properties includes, there's the number, which is like the 1, the 2, 3, 4, 5, which shows there. But then there's also this other property, which can get set at times when the PDF is created or through different means. And this label property has been set to actually have the name of that page. So if your PDFs contain that label information, then when you import it, it will actually put that page name here in the pages list for it. So you may find that not that very many PDFs that you receive have that, but if they do, then it will start to leverage that functionality. So again, user setting and tools, and then also the page naming based on label property. Coming over here to the project tab in the list area, a small change related to copying list. Now, if you're not aware, you can come to any of the lists that are here. You can right click on it and choose to copy that list. Lots of different options here that you can leverage, but getting to the point here, when we click OK, when we copy this list in previous versions, you just stayed focused on whatever tab that you were on previously, but now when you complete that copy, it brings that new copied list into focus, since oftentimes people are wanting to operate and work on that new list. So that's a slight change in behavior there, but hopefully what you would be expecting. Also in this version, we have released several new application types that you can call. Some of them are a little bit more obscure and won't even bother to mention them here, but there's 3 of them that are maybe particularly useful or interesting to many of you. One is, looking here in the exterior trim pack that I have here, relates to siding, and we've introduced a vertical siding TNG application somewhat recently, and so that allows you to have some different waste factors set for lumber if you're using that lumber in a TNG vertical setting. So we've added that one in, and then also going over to the plan tab. Just going to come to a page here just to show you this next one. If we wanted to call bridging, so basically wanted to have some bridging that was collected for kind of like that blocking, but maybe more mid-span and that cross bracing. We've added a bridging application. So if you right click on it and go to applications, and it's going to be under your LCV applications. Can't quite see it off the screen there, but you can see I've picked that bridging application. And then if I go to product, you'll see that the default products that we have in here are some of the common bridging, X-bracing type of products that are there. So that's been added in and available to use. And then finally, another one relates to adhesive. And by default in pre-built, we tend to think of adhesive as being calculated on a lineal foot basis, based on the lineal footage of joists and rim for a project and blocking. But some people just prefer to call it based on the number of sheets for the project. So to make that easier, we've added in this adhesive quantity version instead of it being by the lineal foot. So like, for example, if I have a floor decking kit here and I wanted to add some number of tubes based on the number of sheets that are being sent. If I click here, instead of having to use the adhesive and try to figure out lineal footage, now I can actually just use the adhesive quantity application and just be able to drive it based on a quantity value. So those are 3 new applications. Now, in order to get access to those, you'll need to be running this version, but also you will need us to update your template file with the latest database updates, which would include these new applications as well as product updates and ongoing changes that we're making to the product database as well. So just send that to support@prebuiltml.com. Send us an email with your template and we can update that and get that back to you so that you can have that for your ongoing projects. Jumping over to the plan tab, just to make you aware of some, we're phasing out some old technology related to hanger labels, probably something that nobody, or hopefully nobody, but close to nobody is actually even using anymore. This has been outdated for many years now. But like if I come to a beam here and if I wanted to add a hanger onto it, of course I can still add a hanger A and hanger B. But you'll notice, or perhaps you'll notice that the menu items that are gone are hanger A add with tag and hanger B with tag add. So we've pulled those out because we've for years now have had available the hanger label capabilities that come up, and so that's really the preferred method to be using from here on out. So you can make settings and changes and adjustments to how those look if you come to the profile tab, come to labeling, and then over here on the left hand side you can control size and background color and different things like that. So but the hanger tag will be phasing out and no longer available. Jumping over to a couple of things that are new with the framing layouts relates to one of them was just an improvement of how the materialist is sorting. So for example, if I have a project here where I have 2x10s, 8s, 12s, 6s, lots of different types, and I do a framing layout. When I pull that up, you can see in the materialist in the upper right-hand corner here, we've got all those different types. And in some cases, depending on how you actually did your job, sometimes those R3s, R4s, R5s, R6s, they weren't necessarily in order. They might have been R4 and then R6 and then R3 and R5. But we've made some changes so that those always will appear in order. Another feature that we've introduced related to framing layouts also relates to the materialist, but giving you control over how that's presented if you have multiple packs involved. So I'm going to come here to this floor framing. And you can see here we've got kind of a little duplex, and we've got it divided up into Unit A and Unit B. And you can imagine if you were doing something more like a large commercial project, maybe you might have Unit A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on. If you wanted to be able to display the materialist by unit on the framing layout, that's something that's now possible. So I'm going to come here and click a quick framing layout here. And it's going to pull up. So here we've got that. And now here's this typical look where we've got everything just kind of rolled together, all the different types of material just kind of rolled together with their associated applications. But if instead I come over here to my framing layouts tab, and I'm going to choose this new framing layout style that I created, and you can create one as well, or just change an existing one to have this behavior, I'm going to choose this 11x17 group by pack. I'm going to select that framing layout style. I'm just going to view this again. And now you can see here all that material that used to be condensed together, it's now broken out into the different packs from which it came. So unit A materials was one pack, unit B materials was another pack, and it's represented accordingly. So if you want to be able to see, again, materials by pack, you can make that setting change in your framing layout style. And that could be, maybe it's not for unitizing, maybe it's just for, headers versus floor framing, or rafters versus ceiling framing, and things like that. So the place that you would make that change would be over here in the Profile tab under General. And then down here, we have the framing layout styles. If you're not familiar with this is where you can create all different types of ways that your framing layouts are presented. So you can either edit existing ones or add new ones. And so lots of settings here that you can control so that you can get the type of look you're after, which includes other things like the size of the materialist, and how is it 125%, 150%, bigger, smaller. Here's that new feature right here, group materialist by pack. That would be the box that you'd want to have checked if you want things to be sort of displayed in different sections or different packs. Finally, the last area that we made some changes in relates to Hub over here. And we've added 4 designators here, this location and region to start with. And so these are pretty generic fields that you can use to designate, just to help you with sorting and organizing your projects, and then potentially later also be able to do some reporting on this in the future development that's coming. So for example, location might be a store, so it might be, Smith Street store location or something like that. Or you might think of it as a city, or, however it is that fits your business best. There's no real binding rules of how you choose to use it. And then you can have a region, so you might have the Southeast region, or maybe it's the, Southeast Georgia region, or however it is that what fits your business model best. You have a way to designate those things. Now, we should point out that this search projects fields right here, that in addition to hitting several of these other fields so that you can filter to find things, the search project fields also does that. So if we were to search by Atlanta, especially if we spell it right, then it's going to pull up the jobs that were marked as Atlanta in that location. So we've got, so that's location and region that can be adjusted that way. And then further down, now we've also added a couple other options, and that is the ability to set a project type. Now a project type meaning, is this a single family, single building, single family, multiple buildings, single family addition, small multifamily, hotel, resort, apartment, commercial space, several different things that you could designate as what type of project is this. So you can, or just leave it blank if that fits better, but you have those designators. Then on their sales status, if you want to have a way of checking and reporting on things in the future for, what we've quoted all these jobs, but how did they end up? So you can mark them as either pending or sold or lost, and be able to look at, data and things later according to those pieces of information. Those 2 fields down here, the project type and the sales status, we've also made those available to filter by. So you could, in addition to now to my projects and statuses, you can also come down to what the project type is and what the sales status is like. So new options there for control. All of those are available for those who are using the X3 level. If you are not seeing those options available and those are things that are important to you, that would be an option there, is to update to the latest or to the X3 level. And that brings us mostly to the conclusion of the different highlights in this latest version. Again, that version there is 4.14.3.3645 or higher. So encourage you to get that latest version. And if you have any questions about how to use some of these features or just more feedback on what could be better from your perspective, new things that you would like to see added, we'd love to hear that feedback as well. Thanks for taking the time to join us for this overview, and have a good afternoon.